Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Real Time, where we talk about the movies we like.
And the ones we don't.
I'm Tyler,
And I am Molly.
and today, for its 10th anniversary of when it ended, we're going to be talking about the Cornetto Trilogy.
Yes, probably my favorite trilogy of movies, honestly.
Maybe mine too, but it's got a lot of stiff competition.
Yeah, it does.
So, the Cornetto Trilogy is a series of 3 movies: Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End, all directed by Edgar Wright and starring Simon Pegg and Nick Frost.
Yeah, these 3 movies, as I said, it's my favorite trilogy, so I love all 3 of these movies. They're hilarious. They are, it's just, they're the type of movies that the more you watch them, the more you start to notice about them, and I could just really appreciate that. But yeah, I guess we're starting off with Shaun of the Dead.
Yes, but a little backstory first. Now they're called Cornetto Trilogy. This trilogy is called that because a cornetto, or at least a cornetto wrapper, appears in each one of these movies. Red for strawberry for Shaun of the Dead for zombies, vanilla or blue for Hot Fuzz for cops, and green or mint for The World's End for aliens. Now, what is a cornetto, you may ask? Well, it's a British ice cream treat. Think of it for Americans as drumsticks.
That's what I was about to say. It's like the British version of a drumstick.
Or maybe our drumsticks are the American version of cornetto. I don't know.
I don't know.
So, this was not the first project that these 3 guys worked on together. Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg first worked together on a British TV show called Spaced. I have not seen that, though, so I have nothing to say on it.
Yeah, I haven't seen it either, so I can't really add anything.
Now, Shaun of the Dead was released in 2004. Directed, well, yeah, you know who directed this. I already said. But it was also written by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg, and starring, of course, Simon Pegg as Shaun, the titular Shaun of the Dead. Shaun is this slacker who works a minimum wage job at a electronics store in the mid 2000s, when that was actually not a completely dying market.
Yeah, he's quite the interesting character. He's got like a uninteresting life, but yet he goes on this crazy adventure.
He's the kind of guy who's really stuck in a rut in his life, and he's complaining about it, but he's not really. He doesn't really care enough to change it.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, yeah. And he's only marginally better than his best friend Ed, played by Nick Frost.
Yeah, Ed, I think he doesn't have a job. He is more like the freeloader. He's just hanging out on the couch. I don't think he really contributes much to the household that it seems like these guys all share. So
Yeah, he sells weed, but that's about it.
yeah, I wouldn't really call that a steady job.
Especially when he's selling weed to literal teenagers.
Yeah, that's not good.
Well, yeah, I don't think we're supposed to see it as a good thing.
Well, no, yeah.
Kate Ashfield plays Liz, Sean's girlfriend in the movie, who breaks up with him, and then they get back together over the course of the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I think, yeah, they make a good couple. At the end, we see that they've grown, and Sean and Liz do end up being a pretty good couple.
Lucy Davis plays Liz's roommate, Diane.
Yeah, I always kind of liked Diane. She wasn't my favorite character, but I felt sorry for her because she's dating a crappy dude, and I feel like she deserves much better.
Yeah, I never hated Diane. She always seemed like a nice enough girl, and she's not really very interesting, but she's not hateable. Unlike her boyfriend David, played by Dylan Moran.
Yeah, a jerk, not a good guy.
I hate this guy.
Yeah, he's one of those characters that you're definitely gonna hate by the end of the movie.
Peter Serafinowicz plays Pete, Sean and Ed's other roommate, who is less forgiving of Ed's mooching than Sean is.
Yeah, we see he has a job. He wears a suit, so we are kind of led to believe it's a okayish job, or pretty nice. But he seems to be in charge of the household that these guys, I guess, rent or they room together. So he's more of the no nonsense type of guy.
And to his credit, he is completely right.
Yeah, if I was roommates with those two people, I would get mad very easily too.
Like Sean, Sean at least has a steady job. He's in a managerial position at this tech store, and he's actually contributing rent. It's Ed who's the one he has a problem with.
Yeah, and he kind of has a problem with Sean because Sean is the one who
enables him.
Yeah, allows Ed to continue living the way he is.
And just for a few more cast members, because we haven't gotten to the end of the notable ones. Mm-hmm. Rafe Spall plays Noel, a teenage employee that works for Sean. Well, not works for him, but works under him. Rafe Spall is one of the few actors who is actually in all three of these movies. But his biggest role is going to be in Hot Fuzz, which we'll cover later. Next.
Excuse you. Please excuse Tyler. He does have a cold today. He's a little sick.
Let's see. Bill Nighy plays Sean's stepdad. Sorry, what was his name?
Paul?
Philip.
I knew it was a P name. I just couldn't think.
I'm just trying to find the actress who played his mom, because I'm going to be fair about this, damn it.
Yeah, I know I've seen her in other things. I just can't think of her name.
Penelope Wilton plays Sean's mom, Barbara. Oh, Dame Philip Wilton, that is.
Oh, yes. You address her by her title.
Even though that doesn't really mean much to us here in the States.
No, it don't.
So, Shaun of the Dead. In my opinion, this is one of the best zombie movies ever.
I was thinking the exact same thing. This is my favorite zombie movie. It's just so well done. It's so funny. But yet it also has that sense of danger because, there are zombies running around. It's just a really good movie.
Yeah, the only one the only zombie movies that rival this one for me are George Romero's Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead. Which, speaking of Romero, Wright and Pegg put a few sneaky references to Romero's own work in this movie, specifically the line, "We're coming to get you, Barbara," that Romero didn't even notice when he saw this movie.
Yeah, it took me a long time to get that reference too. But yeah, that's probably why they had Sean's mom be named Barbara. It's just a nice nod to the, original zombie movie.
Plus, there was the restaurant that Sean was trying to get reservations to, Full Cheese. That's the name of another Italian, well, not another Italian, but an Italian zombie movie director who made tons of zombie movies in the 70s and 80s.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
But getting back to Romero, he really liked this movie, which is why he invited Wright and Pegg to make cameos in his next zombie movie, Land of the Dead.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. I haven't seen that one.
Well, they appear as zombies at like this photo op thing in the movie.
That's pretty funny. Um, this I don't know if you're gonna get to this later or not, but I also like the Simon Pegg and Nick Frost cameo in that Phineas and Ferb episode. It's like a nod to Shaun of the Dead. I don't remember what episode or what's going on. I just know that everyone was turning into like copies of Dr. Doofenshmirtz, and it was kind of like a zombie apocalypse, and they were in it.
Yeah, and Simon Pegg and Nick Frost cameoed. They did as their Shaun of the Dead roles. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really funny.
So apparently Helen Mirren was offered the role of Barbara. She declined because she wanted to play Ed because he had the funniest lines.
Yeah, Ed is the character to be in this movie. He's pretty funny. I understand.
Which, I don't know, that just makes me laugh.
Yeah, Helen Mirren in such a silly role.
Just imagine that they just played it straight. Nothing, no like winking at the audience that, we got this old woman who's an esteemed actress, classically trained, and she's just playing this goofy ass dude.
She has an I Got Wood shirt on still.
Huh. Well, now I want this.
Yeah, that would be interesting. I'd watch it.
So okay. I feel like this movie is the most straightforward out of all of the Cornetto trilogy. What you see is what you get for the most part. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But our cats are fighting. Anyways, yeah, but what do you think about that?
What do you mean by straightforward?
Like, there isn't any attempt to trick the audience like with the other two, and it's basically a point A to point B movie.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I agree with you. This one, the other two in this trilogy kind of have, they're kind of tricky, but yeah, this one is just, you just watch and you observe everything, and yeah, it is straightforward.
Now, there are things, like you said, to pick up on following watches. But like for instance, in the second time that Sean goes to the convenience store run by that Indian fella, on the radio, there's a man speaking in Hindi that the dead are coming back to life and all that. And if you speak Hindi, then that's gonna be no surprise to you. But I don't, so what do I know what they're saying?
Yeah, there's a lot of little things like that throughout the movie. Of course, I can't think of any right now, but like throughout the movie, you just start rewatching it and you notice like these little things in the background that are kind of hidden. They're not really something that is in the center of attention, so it's really easy to look over.
There is, however, the bit of foreshadowing that happens in the movie when after Barbara breaks up, not Barbara, Liz. Too many women in this movie, and there's only 3.
Yeah.
After Liz breaks up with Sean, and and Ed takes him to the bar, to the Winchester, to to basically to help him get through this, and he basically foreshadows the whole next day. He says that they're gonna have a Bloody Mary, and next morning there's that zombie woman Mary, all bloody. Then I have a bite at the king's head, his stepdad being the king of his own castle, so to speak.
And he gets bitten.
Yeah, at his head.
Yeah.
A couple at the little princess, referring to the couple at the little princess, meaning David and Diane, although honestly, David is a little princess because he acts like a little bitch,
Yeah, true.
stagger back there when they all pretend to be zombies in order to get to the crowd, to the Winchester, and back at the bar for shots with the actual Winchester rifle at the bar.
Yeah, because they're shooting like shots.
And there's also the fact that earlier in the movie, Edge's trying to say that the rifle above the bar at the Winchester is an actual rifle that can shoot, and for obvious reasons, Sean is thinking, nah, it's not going to do that. They wouldn't have that, and also because in the UK gun laws are a lot more strict than they are here in the US. Lame.
Let's get back on track.
Uh, but turns out that the rifle is active and they can use it to shoot zombies.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But dogs can look up.
Yes, they can.
So, what was your favorite part of this?
Oh, it's so hard to choose because I really like this movie. Um, so, oh, there's a lot of good parts in this movie. Um, maybe when they are arriving at the Winchester, whenever all the zombies are around, and they have to get in there, and act like zombies, I guess. Because it is hard to choose my favorite part. What about you? Do you know?
Um, well, like you said, it's kind of hard to choose, but I think I might like the part at right after Ed and Liz's not Ed, Sean and Liz's breakup, and not just the foreshadowing, just Ed trying to do his best to comfort his friend and just let him know that, hey, it's okay, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah, that is a pretty funny part. Or, it's nice to see the friends getting together, but it's also, all their drunk shenanigans they get up to are pretty funny.
That also,
I have a new favorite part.
okay, go on.
I like whenever Mary appears in their backyard, and the classic scene where they have to throw records at those two zombies is pretty funny.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. I was also gonna say, right after Ed gets bitten by the zombies at near the end, and him, Sean, and Liz are in the cellar of the Winchester, and Ed's been kind of he hasn't really been too helpful this whole time, so, and just that final moment of him and Sean just apologizing to each other for yelling at each other, and Ed for not being the best friend. It's just it's really tugs at your heartstrings,
Yeah, it does. It is a surprisingly emotional part of the movie.
Yeah, that plus when Barbara dies after she gets bitten, and right as she turns into a zombie, Sean has to shoot her.
Yeah, that is, pretty emotional.
Although I do like when after David was pressuring Sean to shoot her, and after he said it for a final time, she growls at him like she's about to, pounce on him and eat him because he's being mean to her boy.
Yeah,
Oh, speaking of, when we finally get a gory zombie kill, and it's David.
Yeah, he gets ripped open and eaten, and it's quite gross.
Can't say I feel sorry for him or share in the others' feeling sad at his death. I don't care.
Yeah, I was not upset to see him go.
Now, might be a little bit obvious who we're both going to choose, but who is your favorite character?
Probably Ed, just because he's funny. Though I do really like Sean. I think Sean's a really strong main character. He's funny as well, and he makes a good leader of their little ragtag group. But I'm a sucker for the funny characters.
Yeah, I'd say Sean. I think he really grows by the end, and I love his character arc, going from this slacking guy who's really not motivated enough to actually do anything to change his life to being able to do it by the end.
Yeah, it is nice to see him grow.
So, unless you have anything more to say about Shaun of the Dead, we can move on.
Let's move on.
Next will be Hot Fuzz, and spoiler alert, this is both of our favorites of the trilogy.
Oh yeah, my favorite.
So, Hot Fuzz is the second in the Cornetto Trilogy, released in 2007. This one also written by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg.
Yeah, of course, the dream team.
Simon Pegg stars as Nicholas Angel, a police constable from the mean streets of London, who is, quite frankly, too good at his job. So his higher-ups basically say, look, you're getting transferred to the country because you're making us all look bad.
Yeah, that is a quote from the movie, yes.
He's just too good at arresting people, too good at taking people down. He's too friendly with the local population. He's just the ultimate cop who is not RoboCop.
Yeah, he's good at his. He's just very, very good at his job.
Nick Frost plays PC Danny Butterman, the first cop that Angel meets when he moves to Sanford, Gloucestershire.
Yeah, Angel does have to bring him into the station for drunk driving, or attempt. He did pretty much drive drunk. So.
He drove the car, just not very far.
Very far. So that's an interesting introduction to the buddy cop duo.
Although, given how later on in the movie we see that Danny doesn't live that far from the bar, Homeboy could have just walked.
Yeah, he definitely could have.
But then again, he lazy.
Yeah, I could see him being too lazy to walk.
Martin Freeman, Steve Coogan, and Bill Nighy again play Angel's superiors in London. I'm getting through them first off because they are listed on IMDb right after Nick Frost. Steve Coogan isn't, but I'm just adding him too because just get those guys done and over with.
Yeah, they don't have very big parts.
Although I think it's kind of funny that as we go up in ranks for his police superiors, they get more well-known actors to fill out the roles.
Yeah, that's kind of a funny detail.
Like in 2007, I doubt very many people knew in America at least knew who Martin Freeman was.
Yeah, now I think that's changed a lot, but at the time, no.
Steve Coogan, a little bit more famous. He'd been in a few things here and there that U.S. audiences would know. And then Bill Nighy, the chief inspector. Yeah, he was much more well-known at the time than those other two were. Probably still now.
Yeah, I'd say so. If you don't know his name, you've definitely seen his face.
Or heard his voice.
Oh, yeah, that too.
Let's see. Let's get to... Okay, hold on. So, Nicholas Angel is transferred to Sanford, Gloucestershire, where he is immediately fish out of water because this is a bit more quiet than he's used to.
Yeah, he's from a big city. He's from London. He's used to working very busy days with, lots of crime. And this is a very much smaller town, and it is a repeat winner of Village of the Year, so it's a very nice quiet place to live.
I don't know if Village of the Year is actually a thing that y'all do in the UK, but
It could be.
could be. Uh, anyways, uh, Jim Broadbent plays Inspector Butterman, Danny's dad, who runs the police station in Sanford, Gloucestershire. I'm gonna keep saying it.
Yeah, I always love seeing Jim Broadbent in things. I don't know, there's just something about him I really like. I guess maybe I like a lot of his roles, so I just associate him with, you know, a funny guy.
Yeah, he's got a warm presence that makes you you just like seeing him. He's always a welcome presence to have.
Yeah, for sure.
Timothy Dalton plays Simon Skinner, the owner of the local supermarché.
Great role, by the way. Fantastic.
Which we'll get into spoilers later, but I really love Timothy Dalton in this role.
Yeah, he plays this character so well. He just really amps up the, I don't even know what to call it. He just really makes this character. I don't think anyone else could have made it work as well as he did.
I don't think so. I don't think anyone could have. I agree. Patty Considine plays Detective Sergeant Andy Wainwright, and Rafe Spall plays Detective Constable Andy Cartwright.
The Andys,
You know why they're both called Andy, don't you?
because they're both named Andrew.
Also, talking to him is an uphill struggle, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
Kevin Eldon plays Sergeant Tony Fisher. He's kind of a goober here.
Yeah, he doesn't really know what's going on a lot. And he just towards the end of the movie he improves, but he just is kind of clueless.
He gets there in the end. He does. Carl Johnson plays PC Bob Walker, the old man of the station.
Yeah, he talks really hard to understand.
Yeah, talking to him is kind of like talking to some people around where I live. I need a translator.
Yeah.
Olivia Colman plays PC Doris Thatcher, the only woman of the police station.
Yes.
She's not a policewoman. She's a police officer.
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna do the thing.
Sorry, I couldn't think of the quote right now. I'm sorry.
It's okay. She's had a long day.
Yeah, I have.
She works with children.
Yeah. And it's almost Thanksgiving break, so you know how it goes.
There is honestly, there's an absolute laundry list of other actors in this movie. Most of them are more well known to British audiences, but some of them that some of us may know in the States are Stephen Merchant plays Mr. Peter Ian Staker.
Yeah, a small role.
He loses his swan.
Yeah.
Rory McCann plays Michael Armstrong. Or
Yeah.
Lurch.
Yep, I had to think, yeah.
Us over here in the States may know him better as the Hound from Game of Thrones.
I wouldn't, but
Which, watching him on that and then him here, it's kind of jarring because in one he's just a simple-minded, possibly incest baby who can only say one word, and then the other he's just this foul-mouthed, absolutely violent knight. He's a really good actor, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, because those are quite different roles.
David Bradley plays Arthur Webley, another hard to understand gentleman who makes for one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Us in the States would know him better as Filch from the Harry Potter movies.
Yep.
And, of course, Peter Jackson as the man dressed as Father Christmas who stabs Angel in the hand.
Yeah, compared to Shaun of the Dead, there's a lot more characters in this movie.
Plus, of course, Kate Blanchett as Angel's ex Janine.
Yep, can't forget about her. Even though it's a short role.
And even if Angel does eventually.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Geez, we spent a lot of time on just the cast, but it's very extensive.
Yeah, it's extensive. There's some big names, and yeah, there's a lot of characters.
So, like we said, this is our favorite in the trilogy.
Yeah, we've probably talked about this movie before.
Well, we attempted to. This is supposed to be one of our first videos we ever did, but a host of things got in the way of us actually uploading that, so we never did.
Ah, okay.
So, we're going to get into spoilers because, well, better late than never. Soon after Nicholas arrives to the town, there's a string of murders or accidents as everyone else sees them. First, there's Martin Blower and Eve Draper, two so-called actors in a Romeo and Juliet play, who get their heads hacked off, and it's made to look like they got that way by being in a traffic collision.
Yeah, they staged the bodies.
But not well enough so that Nicholas couldn't tell.
Yeah, because there were no skid marks at the scene.
Now who's childish? Next was Tim Messenger, who was trying to give Nicholas some important details, and he ended up getting his head absolutely destroyed by part of the church steeple.
Yeah, I think the other guy died first, right? The little guy.
Oh, George Merchant. You're right. Yeah. The fridge magnet.
Yeah.
I just love their choice of words there because it's funny.
Yeah, it's pretty creative.
You're right though. George Merchant did die first. He was friends of Martin and Eve, and so he was drinking his sorrows away until he got bashed in the head, and then his whole house blew up.
Yeah, so it was made to look like an accident.
And then Tim Messenger died. I got those two mixed up.
Yeah, Tim Messenger has the most memorable death, I think, out of all the people who die in this movie.
Yes, he did. And then after him was Leslie Tiller, who did not fall on her own shears.
Yeah. Angel actually sees this murder happen, so he has much more confidence in himself. He knows that, yes, he was right. These are murders. And, yeah.
And all the other cops at his at the station don't think it was murder because, well, they're all really complacent, is the nice way of putting it.
Yeah. Danny believes him, though, because Danny's a good friend.
And he's trying to become a better policeman officer.
Yeah, he honestly wants to learn and do better, and he really likes that Nicholas is helping him out.
And Nicholas's main suspect for this is Simon Skinner because he's acting the most suspicious. He appeared on the scene for 2 out of the 3 murders. So 2 out of 4, I should say.
Yeah, and the Tim Messenger murder, Nicholas knew he wasn't around.
He was conveniently absent.
Yeah, he was conveniently not with the large group of people. So, yeah, Nicholas Angel had a lot of suspicion on this guy.
So, all the cops go to the supermarket where Simon Skinner runs to accuse him, only to find that Skinner has a pretty airtight alibi. He was in the store when Leslie Tiller was getting murdered, and he was actually legitimately surprised by that. If not surprised, then shocked.
I think he was still acting. I think he knew that Leslie Tiller was going to get murdered.
Well, hold on. We haven't got there yet.
Oh, sorry.
And then later on, Nicholas gets attacked in his hotel room by one of these people in black robes we see. And this one's Lurch, but he's acting as the muscle for the Neighborhood Watch Alliance, who we met earlier. It's basically all the business owners and important people in town.
The older folks who've been around this town for a long time.
Including Simon Skinner. So, Nicholas was right.
Yeah, he was right.
And all these murders were murders, but earlier Angel had to him it was a whole mess over land ownership and the like. Just very understandable motives, business and all the like. But in actuality, it was over something a lot more petty than just losing money on a business deal.
Yeah. For example, the first two murders, they were murdered because they were terrible actors.
And they had another two waiting in the wings. One of them was an extra in Straw Dogs, and the other played a cadaver.
Yes, that's true.
George Merchant was murdered because his mansion wasn't keeping in with the village's rustic aesthetic.
Yeah, it didn't fit in, so they needed him gone.
Tim Messenger was killed because he had poor grammar in his newspaper.
Lots of typos, bad articles.
which as a English major, I'm sure you can relate to that.
Yeah, he deserved it.
And Leslie Tiller was murdered, even though she was one of them, because she was leaving Sanford.
Yeah, she was moving, and she's a really good horticulturist.
Yeah.
Is that the word? Yeah. And they just didn't want her helping out any other town besides their own.
Now, Simon Skinner he didn't want that one because, Leslie was his cousin. But he still went along with it.
Well, he knows it's for the greater good.
The greater good.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like the first time I ever watched this movie, I was just going along with Nicholas. Like, okay, yeah, this seems reasonable enough for murders to happen. Okay, so all this happening, but then it turns out to be over such petty stuff like that. And it's like, I love this movie.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite movies of all time. I can rewatch it anytime, every day if I had to, really.
And afterwards, we find out that the Neighborhood Watch has been murdering and covering up murders for a while, and all of this started because Frank's wife. Well, she put a lot of hard work into getting Village of the Year, and then a whole bunch of a whole bunch of
Gypsies,
hippies, and all the stuff, other people that Frank and the other business leaders didn't like, came in and ruined their chances, so she killed herself.
Yeah.
And because of that, Frank wants to make sure that Sanford never doesn't get Village of the Year, so that he can it's for his dead wife.
Yeah. So he kills all the people he doesn't like and all the people who don't help with the village aesthetic.
And anyone who gets in any sort of crime trouble.
Yeah, they die too.
Such as a bunch of kids who Nicholas pinched for underage drinking and being out and about drunk.
Yep.
Yeah, this movie takes a real turn.
Yeah, it's like, yeah, they're killing everybody. They kill kids. They don't really care.
They kill dogs.
Yeah.
They killed the living statue, which I don't think that would have hurt their chances of Village of the Year.
Yeah, and I guess they didn't want I guess he's kind of like a beggar of sorts, or like a weird performance that just didn't really fit in with what they wanted, I guess.
Although give the guy some credit. He stayed in that position even after death.
Yeah, he did. He sure did.
So, yeah. Then after that, when Ed fakes Nicholas's death, he comes back and they take the town back.
Oh yeah, in the most rad, crazy scene that just kind of comes out of the blue. It's like really the action has been pretty tame, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, this is an action movie now for sure.
Because earlier in the movie, Danny was asking Nicholas about all these different action movie cliches. If you've done them, like, have you ever fired a gun whilst jumping through the air? Have you ever fired two guns whilst jumping through the air? Have you ever been in a high-speed pursuit? Have you ever fired a gun whilst in a high-speed pursuit?
Yeah, and by the end of this long fight scene, they do all of it.
They do that all that.
They do any cop action movie scene you can think of.
And Danny even gets to fire his gun up in the air and go, ah.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Speaking of actions movies, did you know that the scene with Nicholas and Danny watching Point Break and Bad Boys 2 was the hardest scene to shoot in the whole movie?
Because of the camera swirling around?
No, like when they were watching the movies in Danny's apartment.
Oh, why?
Well, they needed to get permission from every single actor that appeared in the scenes in those movies.
Yeah, I guess that would be hard to do.
But, okay, so you're probably just thinking, Martin Lawrence, Will Smith, Patrick Swayze, and Keanu Reeves, right?
They probably had to do Richard Nixon.
No.
Who's the mask?
Well, no, the mask wasn't an issue.
Oh.
But, you're thinking they just need to get those four guys, right?
I would assume.
They also had to get their stunt doubles permission.
Oh, yeah.
Even though the stunt doubles' faces are completely covered, they had to get them too.
Yeah, because, if that is technically them in the scene, then yeah, I understand that, yeah.
And if any one of them said no, then they would have had to completely rework that whole scene.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's kind of funny because those scenes aren't very long either, so that's a lot of work for just a tiny amount of screen time.
But it was well worth it.
I think so, yeah.
Let's see. I almost don't have to look at my phone for trivia because I know a lot of this, but I'm still going to do it anyways just so I can make sure I'm saying it right.
Well, go ahead.
So Jim Broadbent was actually a real big fan of Shaun of the Dead and asked Edgar Wright for a role in this movie.
Yeah, and like I said, he's great in this movie. It's a good role for him.
The Village of the Year judges, two of them are played by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg's moms.
That's pretty funny.
Simon Pegg considered an idea for a Hot Fuzz sequel where it would basically be a reversal where Danny and Nicholas go to the city and he has to show Danny the ropes there.
Yeah, this movie's so good, though. I wouldn't want a sequel to ruin it.
Yeah, it's not necessary. Not to say I wouldn't go watch it, but it's not necessary.
Yeah.
Nicholas had a love interest in the first draft of the script named Victoria, but she was cut, and most of her lines were given to Danny with basically no change.
I could tell sometimes. Sometimes, it's like, okay, these characters are getting kind of close.
Which that just highlights how the real love story of this movie is between Nicholas and Danny.
Yes, that's true.
Homie love is real love.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
According to real life police officers, this is one of the most accurate cop movie ever.
It does show the paperwork process.
That's exactly what they said.
Yeah.
And some of the lines in this movie were actually taken from real life police officers, like when Nicholas says that he prefers to think his real office is out on the streets.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty cool.
And well, do you have anything else?
This is my favorite movie. I love every moment of it. If you have not seen this movie yet, I highly, highly recommend it.
Now, who was your favorite character in this movie?
It is hard to choose, but I really like Danny. He's naive. He's just this innocent, nice cop who's a little silly, a little goofy. He's not very good at his job, but he grows. He wants to learn how to be better. So by the end of the movie, he gets taken seriously. He's actually a serious cop now who's been through a lot.
Yeah, by the end, after his dad gets arrested and he gets promoted to sergeant, he's basically Nicholas's right hand man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and they're a good team.
My favorite would definitely have to be Nicholas. I really love how this legitimately super competent guy is just really competent. I really like that.
Yeah, mm-hmm. He's just really good at what he does.
Although I also would like to make a special mention of Simon Skinner and just how amazing Timothy Dalton is in this role. Like throughout this whole movie, when Nicholas is suspecting of him, you're just thinking to yourself, "Oh, it can't be him. He's way too obvious. He's acting way too obvious to be the guy doing this." And then if we find out, no, okay, we're right. He was too obvious. It wasn't him. And then we find out, no, it was him. You were completely right to think that.
Yeah, that's so funny. He just is so obviously there's something sketchy about him. He is obviously he even says at one point, I'm a killer, lock me up or something like that.
I'm a slasher.
Yeah.
Lock me up. I'm a slasher of prices.
Yeah. But it's just so funny. He plays that role so well.
I think Timothy Dalton may have said at one point that this was one of his favorite roles.
I can see it. I can tell he's having a great time.
Okay, what about your favorite part?
Oh my, this one is probably the hardest movie out of the three to choose a favorite part from, because I'm not even exaggerating when I say I love every scene in this movie. So do you have a favorite part that you know of?
Just one?
Well, yeah.
No.
It's hard. You can't choose just one.
And it'd be kind of useless to just list off scenes, but let's do it anyways. I really like the build up for when Nicholas is riding into town on his horse, and then when everything starts to kick off with all the shooting.
Yeah, that's a good one. I like whenever it's revealed who the killers actually are. That's a nice twist.
I love how quotable all of this dialogue is. It's so great.
Yeah, there's some really great lines.
Everyone and their mums is pecking around here.
Like who?
Farmers.
Who else?
Farmers' mums. And it even gets paid off later when one of the NWA members,
who's a farmer,
who is a farmer, he spots Nicholas coming back because after Danny faked his death, he came back in order to help the town, and Nicholas crashes the car into his to keep him from radioing the others. And then he yells for his mom, who pulls out a double barrel and tries to shoot him. She tries to shoot Nicholas, who sprints over and kicks her in the face before she can reload.
Yeah, she's just this frail old lady, and he just does a flying kick right to her nose.
Just in no other movie are you gonna find something so funny, awesome, and with as much old woman kicking as this one.
That's true.
Oh, I mean, what more is there really for us to say? This is an amazing movie. I love watching it. I'm down to watch it every day.
Yeah, me too. I think I already said that, but yeah, I am too.
Now, next we have the World's End, which I think is the least good of the Cornetto trilogy, but least good of this trilogy is still a really good movie.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's still a really fun movie to watch.
So, coming up is The World's End. The World's End is the final part of the Cornetto trilogy, released in 2013. This movie was, again, written by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. Man, these guys do really great work together.
For real, yeah. I wish I could produce that much good material. That would be nice.
Like, these guys did 3 movies plus some other stuff together, and I just love watching them work.
Yeah. Yeah, their stuff is some of my favorite movies, so
I'd call Simon Pegg and Nick Frost a modern day Abbott and Costello.
honestly, yeah. They just work really well together.
Okay, so Simon Pegg plays Gary King, he's a guy whose best years have passed him, and he's desperately trying to relive his glory days with his old crew of friends.
Yeah, he's one of those, peaked in high school guys.
Nick Frost plays Andy Knightley, his former best friend, who doesn't really like him anymore, but we'll get to that later.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to see how the roles are reversed in this movie. Usually Simon Pegg is playing the more grounded, serious character.
The straight man.
Yeah, but it's reversed now. Nick Frost is the serious, straight man. He's the more no-nonsense type.
Which, I'm just going to say this right now, out of all of the roles in the Cornetto trilogy for these two guys, I think The World's End gives us their best performances.
Yeah, because it's just very different from what they've been doing, so it's nice to see a change of pace for them.
Martin Freeman plays Oliver Chamberlain, one of their friends. They call him O-Man because he has an O-shaped birthmark on his head.
That he gets laser removal surgery for.
This is the first time Martin Freeman was actually playing a main role in one of these movies. They finally got enough money to hire him.
Yeah, Shaun of the Dead, he was barely in it. In Hot Fuzz, he was in it for a little bit longer.
Yeah, he had 2 scenes.
Yeah, and in this one, he's one of the main characters.
Paddy Considine plays Stephen Prince, another one of the group of 5.
Yeah.
And Eddie Marsan plays Peter Page, the last member.
Yep.
Rafe Spall's in it again, but he's just a walk-on role. But, he's still one of the few actors who's in all 3 of these things, so...
What does he look like? Let me see. What character does he play?
He plays the, one of the people who was trying to buy the house from O-Man.
Yeah, I forgot. But yeah, he is in it for a little bit.
Pierce Brosnan plays Guy Shepherd, one of the boys' teachers from high school, which makes him one of 2 Bond actors who appeared in this series.
Yeah, pretty interesting.
One of 2 Bond actors so far. I'm looking at some of these guys. I'm guessing some of them could have. Someone's gonna from these casts is gonna be a Bond actor one of these days, and then we're gonna look back and say, "Oh, there's another one."
We'll see.
Oh yeah, David Bradley shows up again as Basil, one of the more level-headed characters in these movies, but we'll get to him later. Or let's just do it now because I'm going to forget later. So they're going back to their hometown to do the Golden Mile. It's a 12 pub crawl, and they find out that which they tried to do this after they graduated high school, but they didn't make it. They didn't make the last 3 pubs, so they just stopped.
Yeah, so they're giving it another go for old time's sake.
Or at least that's what Gary wants to do. The others could they couldn't barely be bothered to care. But after that night, nothing ever got better for Gary. So he wants to try to relive the best night of his life.
Yep. Which, it's kind of sad. It makes you feel a little sorry for him that he, is so unhappy with his life.
But they come back to their hometown to find that alien robots have taken over and replaced most of the population of this village.
Yeah, quite an interesting twist there.
And this guy Basil, who they previously thought was crazy, is actually one of the only humans left.
Yeah, he kind of found a way to keep the aliens from getting into him, and he just kind of lies low, so the aliens don't suspect he's against them.
Rosamund Pike plays Oliver's sister Sam, who Gary hooked up with that first night they did the Golden Mile.
Yeah.
And of course, Bill Nighy shows up as the actual network that is running the whole thing.
Yeah, he's just a voice.
Oh, looks like Peter Serafinowicz showed up too.
Who's that?
He was the Ding Dong Ditch guy that Gary did when they were adults.
Yep, I remember now.
So, like we said, The World's End is not the best in this trilogy, but
that's really not saying anything. It's still a great movie. Just because it's not the best in the trilogy, it doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Look, just because it's not as good as Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz does not mean it's a bad movie. Most movies are not as good as Shaun of the Dead or Hot Fuzz.
Yeah, it's hard to live up to those two.
So, like, if we had to give out ratings, this would be like a 9 out of 10 compared to Shaun of the Dead's 9.5 and Hot Fuzz's 10 out of 10.
I agree with that rating system.
Like, it's technically not as good or something we enjoy as much, but it's still really good.
There's still a lot of funny parts in it. It's still very enjoyable to watch.
And I like how Simon Pegg gets to flex his acting muscles to be the more comedic and irresponsible character this time around.
Yeah, Yeah, like I said, it's fun to watch.
Let's see. So apparently the original plot of this movie involved them going back in time and encountering their younger selves.
That could have been interesting.
Eh.
Yeah, don't know how that would have worked out, but interesting to think about.
Mr. Shepard was actually based on Edgar Wright's old drama teacher.
Oh, that's fun.
Let's hope he didn't turn out to be an alien robot.
I guess you never know.
So, like we said, this is kind of a last hurrah for Gary, sort of to relive his glory days.
Yeah.
So he just got out of a hospital after he tried to kill himself.
Yeah. So yeah. I mean, we know right off the bat that this character is going through a lot of struggles.
And he's just trying to, do the last thing that he really remembered being happy doing.
Yeah. I think he just really wants to, try to feel happy again.
And he has a hard enough time convincing his friends to come with him until he mentions that. Hold on. Can't believe I forgot what Nick Frost's character's name. Andy. I was thinking it was Andy, but I wasn't 100% sure. Anyways, until he tells them all that Andy's going, and they're kind of surprised by that because they know what happened. And what happened is Gary was ODing on drugs, and Andy had to rush him to the hospital. While they were both drunk still, Andy ended up rolling the car, and he breaks a leg in his bone that severs his femoral artery. Gary miraculously makes a recovery and bolts, leaving Andy there to possibly basically die just to save his own skin.
Yeah, and Andy's the one who has to face all these consequences Even though what he was doing was just trying to save his friend. So yeah, so Andy doesn't drink anymore.
And that's why he's so pissed off at Gary. Which, yeah, with good reason.
Yeah, for sure. But Gary knows what to say to make Andy agree with the trip.
He told him that his mom died.
So Andy feels a little sorry for him and is like, okay, I guess I'll do this for him since he just lost his mom.
Which Andy's a really good friend, by the way.
Yeah, he really is.
He puts up with way too much nonsense from Gary and still goes along with more.
Yeah. Because later on at a certain pub, Gary's phone rings whenever he's in the bathroom, and Andy picks it up and discovers that Gary's mom is actually alive.
Yeah, but immediately afterwards, they come into contact with some alien robots who they later refer to as blanks.
Yeah.
So, in order to keep the charade going that they don't know anything, they decide to keep going with the pub crawl.
Yep, they just try to act like they don't know anything, that nothing's happened. They just keep going with their plan.
But it kind of falls apart given the fact that, it's a network, so they all of the blanks, it's kind of like a hive mind. They all know what each other know.
Yeah.
Or at least that's how I took it.
That's kind of what it seems like, yeah.
Plus the fact that they're drunk, so they're not going to be very subtle.
No, yeah, they're not subtle at all.
Which, side note, this is probably some of the most realistic drunk dialogue I have ever seen in a movie. Like, the conversations that these guys are having and the way they're doing it just sounds like completely like something me and my friends would do.
I can see that, yeah. I agree with you. It's really realistic.
And when, at one point when Andy is trying to explain everything to Sam, he's just spitting out random words. It doesn't really mean much out of context. I think when he goes to leave, he accidentally breaks the window on the door.
Yeah, it's a pretty funny scene.
Yeah, it's one of the more most traditional Simon Pegg Cornetto Trilogy moments, and it's welcome, even though I love him in this movie as the more straight man.
Yeah, yeah. Nick Frost does a really good job at being funny.
Yeah, he's a very underrated actor. I'd say a lot of people in the West know about Simon Pegg, from Star Trek or from the Mission Impossible movies. He's well known, but I feel like not as many people know about Nick Frost.
I don't think so. Yeah.
Which is a shame. He's a really funny and really talented actor, and I love watching him in all the stuff that I've seen him in.
I think I think I've only seen him in these 3 movies.
Well, I'm looking at this Screen Rant article that Simon Pegg and Nick Frost have 8 different collaborations.
Paul, I've seen Paul. Yeah.
Paul. Yeah, they were great in that. The Adventures of Tintin.
Yeah, I forgot about their roles there.
Truth Seekers. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I've not heard of that.
Okay. Most of their stuff is Cornetto Trilogy related, or Edgar Wright related, because there's Space, Cornetto Trilogy, Paul, which he didn't have anything to do with actually. I don't know why I said Edgar Wright related, but yeah, I feel like they should do more.
Oh yeah, for sure. They work great together. I love watching them working together. So I would watch anything as long as they're in it. Yeah, I'd watch it.
I would love to see them do like an actual Abbott and Costello monster series like those guys did.
That would be hilarious. I would really like that.
Imagine though, like them actually doing Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, like a Abbott and Costello movie, but it's them. Yeah, that could work.
No, they'd be playing Abbott and Costello.
Yeah.
It'd be like a remake.
Yeah, that's what. Like a remake of like Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein or something.
or anything, you know.
Yeah, I'd watch it for sure. Yeah.
Oh man, I both do and don't want this at the same time.
Yeah.
Anyways, let's get back to the world's end. So, eventually when they when Gary gets to the last pub, he's trying to have his last beer to finish the Golden Mile. Finally, he's stopped by Andy, who's trying to. He's trying to get him to see reason that this isn't worth any of this, but this is all Gary's got left.
Yeah. He just he's just had it rough, I guess. He doesn't really have much to live for, so yeah. This one last moment is what he just wants to do.
Yeah, and it's really it's really heartbreaking to hear him talk about how nothing in life got better for him after that night, and it's
Yeah.
you're not a good person, Gary, but I really feel for you right now.
Yeah, because I like to think like if my last day of high school was like the peak of my life, that would not be good.
And then they get brought down to where the network is, and which basically explains to them their plan, what they're doing, and Gary's just, nah, we don't want any of this. We don't want, and he's being so belligerent and drunk and rude that the network's just like, okay, what do you want? We want to be left alone. And the network just, it's like, okay, fine. Be you, whatever, I don't care. And as they're leaving, they shut off all electronics on Earth with a huge EMP and sends everyone back to the Stone Age.
Yeah, that's one of my favorite scenes is them arguing with this disembodied voice because they are so stubborn and drunk. It's pretty funny. Like it's a pretty funny argument.
Although I will maintain that if the network tried this in America, then they would have gotten pissed off a lot sooner.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know.
Because for every one Gary King there, we have like 20.
Unfortunately, yeah.
So yeah, after that, the remaining group, because Peter and Oliver got turned into blanks. So the other three basically parted ways, and after this, Gary was leading a band of the younger versions of the blanks of his friends through this post-apocalyptic wasteland, and he's honestly become a better person, it seems.
He seems happy. He's with the versions of his friends that that I think he likes the most, and it seems like he's actually found purpose.
And it ends on a nice note,
Yeah, Andy gets back with it or makes amends with his wife. He sees his kids. We see the I don't remember the names. Sam's the sister, right?
Sam's Oliver's sister, but Steven gets to end up with Sam after he confessed his love to her because he never got to earlier because she was into Gary.
Yeah.
But then she found out that he's a total prick, and Steven is a much nicer man. So,
yeah, they end up together. And is it Peter who's one of the blanks?
Yeah, he goes back to
His home.
The real Peter's home, which the whole concept of these blanks, it's weird to me. It's like, are these the actual people in like this robot thing, but like made younger?
I think the robots have the memories of the people. So this robot is like, okay, like I know that this guy has a house and a family, so I don't know what else to do, so I'll go back there. And he lives with his wife and kids, and they seem to be okay with it.
Yeah, like I will knock the movie for this. The whole concept of the blanks is a bit ill-defined.
I think it can be stronger, but I do seem to think that they have the memories of whoever they're supposed to be.
Like, I mean, maybe I missed something. Maybe that's on me, but that's really my only complaint with this movie.
Yeah, I can see that though.
So, what was your favorite part of the movie?
Like I said, I do like that argument where at the very end, but I also like after they first discover the robots and they after that first fight's over and they're all kind of freaking out and trying to decide what to do. It's just very funny, all the chaotic drunk energy that's going on. They just, yeah, it's pretty funny.
I'm gonna have to agree with you. Those are both really good scenes. What about character?
Do you have a favorite scene, or are you just agreeing?
Yeah, I'm agreeing with you.
Character, maybe Gary.
Yeah, I'd say so too.
He's one of the tragic characters, but yet he's still funny, and he does change a lot throughout the movie. So, yeah, it's nice to follow him.
I agree. So that will do it for our look at the Cornetto Trilogy. What we're going to do next, who knows? There aren't really a whole lot of Thanksgiving movies, but if we find something we want to do, maybe we'll do it.
That sounds like a plan to me.
And if not, then, who knows? We don't really have a plan for the rest of the year, but we did start one for next year.
Yeah, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, we will see how that goes. But if we don't find a Thanksgiving movie to do or something else, then could be looking at a double feature of Hacksaw Ridge and My Darling Clementine. Why those two movies? Well, you'll find out.
Yep, you'll find out.
See you next time.
See you next time.
From the creators of Shaun of the Dead